Hey, this is Lorena, and I wanted to do a video for you on how much it costs me to renovate upstairs. We're gonna just talk about upstairs, how much it costs to furnish it, how much money I spent, and also kind of share how I paid for it and kind of like a little bit of how I handle money, I guess. Yeah, so let's talk about expenses and money a little bit. All right, let's talk construction upstairs. Construction upstairs initially was to be $3,000. Now let me just share what the $3,000 involved. It involved just kind of trying to repair the bowing sheetrock, texturing and painting and priming it, the flooring, the trim for the flooring, and a little bit of the electrical, tearing down the weird closet that I had, and sheetrocking the front of this building, or the face of the building that didn't have any sheetrock. But when he finished working downstairs, I asked him how much he charged me for adding windows. So windows was not part of that quote, and I wanted big windows. So he says the windows were like $300 to $400, and I wanted 3. So you see what happened there. And then we saw that the ceiling was really bad, and it had some weird texturing. And he's like, well, I was just gonna prime and paint that and kind of make it look better. And you could see that the ceiling was bowing a lot. So to tear down all the sheetrock on the ceiling area and re-insulate, re-add new sheetrock, tape and float, texture, and all that stuff. And then also to do a little bit more electrical. Yeah, it came out to $6,000. For 3 extra windows, a beautiful ceiling. Initially on the first quote, the pocket lights were part of that. But look, I mean, I'm really happy I did that, because you could see some areas where the sheetrock was bowing or had water damage. He fixed it and made it look as nice as possible, but to really fix it and not see any of that rippling, it would be having to tear out that sheetrock. But $6,000. Cha-ching. All right, we're gonna also talk about other construction that wasn't necessary or unplanned, but it did affect my budget. Okay, so let's talk about the stairs. The stairs, I ended up paying $1,600. It increased by about $500 due to the fact that we changed the design of the stairs, and it also changed the amount of time it took to build them, so it costs a little bit more labor. Another unexpected expense was the siding, where the ladder fell into the old siding on the front. That was $1,100 to get that repaired. And then with that, we also found that one of the beams was dry rotted, so to repair that. And another expense that was not planned, but I'm still really glad that I did it. The door was not staying in position, was kind of falling. The framing on the door had dry rot, and so we had to reframe the door and then buy a new door, and that was another $500. Yeah, another $500. What other thing we could add to other construction? The AC unit, I paid $3,000, but for it to be up here, let's say it was $1,500 with the technician, the piping, electrical, and of course the other half is for downstairs. I also painted the front face of the house, and it was $600 for the whole front, but we're just counting the cost for upstairs. So on the extra construction, some expected, some unexpected, it came out to $5,000. So just to renovate upstairs, it cost me $11,000 just in construction. And yeah, yes, that's a lot of money. A lot of money. I think that's a lot of money. Tremendous amount of money to me. Okay, so let's talk about the fixtures. Of course, fixtures are part of it. I ended up getting electrical plugs that are a little bit more expensive because they had the USB. I got 2 of those. Those were about like $80 for 2 of them. They were like $35 to $40. I also got these beautiful electrical covers that I love that cost me $6 each. I just love them, okay? If I'm spending this kind of money, I want it kind of pretty. These little extra touches just make it special. I also got a light to go in the front. It turns on and off when there's movement. That cost me $100. And I also got doorknobs. So just in like fixtures, those extra things that kind of finish off the room, that cost me $250. So that wasn't horrible. All right, the other expense were furnishings. How to furnish this space. To put furniture in this space, the Kia table and everything cost $210 each. I spent like $420, I'm sure, and maybe with tax a little bit more. The pegboard system cost me $60 and the thread system cost me $66. The curtains and the curtain rods probably cost me $66. The rug cost me $130. And those are like the extra expenses that I paid for. The other furniture I had in my house and the pictures I had already. So just in that kind of stuff, I spent like $776. Okay, so the total of the cost of everything, construction, outside construction, or unexpected costs, the furnishings, the fixtures, and everything, the whole total, it comes out to $12,000.26. My mouth didn't want to say it. $12,000. Okay, so $12,000 just to furnish this upstairs space. And yeah, so let's talk about how I paid for it. In 2010, and I've talked about this when I started doing longarm quilting, my husband lost his job. And it was a really hard season in our lives. And but in that season, there's some really great lessons that I obtained. One of the things I regretted in 2010, why didn't we save it? Why didn't we put money away? Why wasn't savings a priority? Why were we not right with the money? Not that we were doing anything wrong with the money, we were just not putting it away for an emergency or for something that could go wrong or something, you know, that could change your economic status. I talked about my husband losing up to half of his income, and then when finally he did start working again, his income went up to maybe 2/3 of his income. Meaning, and I guess to give you an idea, my husband, let's say, was making $60,000 a year and he ended up making less than 25. That's how bad economically we changed our income level. Now, I also wanted to share some good things came out of those 7 years of my husband not having a job that he loved, and I ended up working as a teacher's aide or a teacher's maid and trying to bring in some income. And also too, I was doing embroidery and longarm quilting to help us kind of not drown economically. But in that whole 7 years, so I'm sharing it was 7 years for us. The greatest lesson was like, when we had money, why didn't we save it? So I have this rule that if there's any extra money, even if it's $20 or $10, $30, let's say $30, I have this rule that I've established in my heart and in myself. 2/3 goes to the savings. And I started doing that when we were tight. And at the time, if I could only save $10, I could only save $10. I made it flexible enough to where if I had to use some of that money, that at least I would put 1/3 of that money away, or at least put 1/4 of that money away. So let's say I had $100. I really would like to save $75 and use the $25 for other stuff, extras. Or if something came up and I really needed whatever was in front of me, I would give myself the other $25 and save the $50. If not, I would at least try to save 25. It doesn't matter how much you save, as long as every time we got a paycheck and there was extra money, we would put something in the savings, at least a fourth or at least a third of the extra money. And that's the least, but I really was trying to put 2/3 away. Does that make sense? That's my 2/3 rule. And let me just say this, you can do it even in this season, but I want you to honor the lessons that are here for you. If it wasn't for 2010, I would have never had a savings account that would be able to do what I did. One of the reasons why we decided to do the renovation here is because I really wanted to get my business out of my house, and I was going to lease a place and start having a storefront for my business, or I wanted to buy land so we could buy a building and get a building where I could place a church and my business together. And all of that, because of Corona, those plans were... It's not economically responsible to get a storefront and pay $1,500 to $2,100 a month to lease a space for a building that I don't own, and purposely trying to kill myself just to make the payments. So this became this next best thing. I paid cash for everything, but it's because of that 2/3 rule. I thought you'd like this video. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one. Yes, bye.